Market is dipping, prices are down. So everybody's been talking about it, and what does that mean? Well, as a Pokemon collector, you guys all know that we only have two moods, and those two moods are to buy high and panic sell. So it's time to panic sell. On some real talk, this is literally like the biggest non-deal ever. We're going to get into the data, just a real quick look at everything, and it is literally not the biggest deal. If you've watched other YouTube videos, you've probably seen the reasoning why. I'm going to give you my reasoning why I don't really care. It's not that I don't care, but why it doesn't really affect me or my game plans. But really quick, just got to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, Skillshare. Skillshare is a great online community with thousands of classes for anything you can imagine. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. I've recently been looking at the music theory course by Fernando Arruda and have been using it to improve the musical compositions on my mixtape. There's definitely a lot of other interesting topics such as investing in crypto, economics, photography, and graphic design. Skillshare is specifically made for learning, so there's no ads and they're always adding premium classes, so you can stay focused and follow where creativity takes you. Don't forget, also the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of a premium membership so you can explore your creativity. So yeah, click the link below, guys, and back to the video. Alright, so what's going on? So basically Pokemon cards are selling for less, and they're selling less often than they were during a crazy hype period. Wild. But, and okay, I'm really not trying to be all sarcastic this time about this video, but basically things are selling for less and they're not selling as quickly. That's pretty much it, which is true. It's proven. Like, everything is less liquid now, and people seem less interested in Pokemon. A lot of people are getting out of it. A lot of people are getting burned. We'll talk about it later. But so here's a data point. Here's a reference point for you guys real quick. So we got your boy Charizard, 120 HP. This is the base set unlimited. So PSA 9 pop 5,500, which is ridiculous. That's an aside though. But we're going to go down here. And so basically, if we go to the peaks over here. All right, so craziest peaks are probably during October. They're around, I'm just going through, we'll just say 5,000. There's a 6,000 in there. Yeah, we'll go in October, $5,000. Insane. So the card was going for 5,000 in October, and look where we're at now. 15. It went 15, 2,000, 2,000, $2,000. So pretty much it dropped like what, 60%, which is ridiculous. It dropped 60% in 4 months. So that's the argument for why Pokemon cards is crashing. Goodbye. That is the end of the video. Just kidding. I got more data. So if we go on the other side of the graph, if you go back over here, like around where we at in 2020, we got, even in June, we'll go back to June. Yeah. All right. We're in June, guys. Look at where we're at. So there's a crazy spike here. It was like another like little mini spike, but we're at like 900, 700, 800s. We'll just say 800 just to make it easy. We could even say 900, but I have a script laid out so it has easy math. But we'll say 800. So basically, if you started 8 months ago, yeah, it's literally 4 months before this 4 months. If you started 8 months ago, you got in at like $800. And so in 8 months, you doubled your money. You like 2.5x your money. So that's actually a ridiculous like amount if you really think about it compared to investments. Yeah, Pokemon is not crashing. It is literally not ending. If it was crashing, it would literally go back to its original price point or less. And it's still way, way above where it was at this time of the year last year. So yeah, if you started 4 months ago, yes, Pokemon is crashing and the world is ending, which is fine. That's not a bad perspective to have. But if you started before that, another 4 months before that, you can see that Pokemon is ridiculously still up. Like, for everyone who had certain cards a year ago and held on to them, they're bummed that they can only 2x or 3x their money as opposed to 4x or 5x the value. So I personally think the crash narrative is super over exaggerated, but I'm here for it. Honestly, I'm down if that's the narrative. I watched this video with Pokenomics basically, and he has the idea that the crash narrative is gonna go deep. Like with the people who are like super high in Pokemon, it's gonna hit them super hard too with the depression part of the down, and so the downs are gonna bring cards down crazy apparently. So I mean, if I can get collections like how I used to get them, where there was not a bunch of like noobs like jacking up the prices, like bidding about, not bidding, but just being like, oh, I'll give you in person $600 when it's like, dude, it's like a $200 collection, then I'm for it. Buy the dip, bro. But on some real talk though, at the end of the day, everyone's gonna say it, but we're just going through a correction. Every YouTuber, economics, like Stonk Bro, like every YouTuber is just, I feel like I'm just saying this because I feel like the information is overplayed and you guys already know, but it's a correction and it's healthy for the market, and that's the fact. Like there's no way a card can like quadruple or quintuple and then life just goes on. That's not how life works. It's gonna correct. It's gonna go somewhere. And as long as it doesn't go below the base price, then we're all chilling. And it has not at all. Like not even close. And honestly, on the other hand too, there are a lot of items that have retained their value if they haven't gone up, actually. A lot of cards with fundamentals, aka scarce low supply cards with decent demand, are doing fine. They're doing good. A lot of cards I own are still literally exactly the same, if not better, than when I purchased them. Grant, the only ones that I really took an L on was maybe like base set first edition, which paints the idea that you should just avoid things that have been super, super overhyped, which base set first edition got super overhyped by Logan Paul and all this other stuff. But that's an aside. So yeah, from my experience, I have a lot of cards that have stayed the same. I'll list off some. Like Gold Star seems stable, a lot of e-reader stuff, e-reader hollows, even like I bought an e-reader Vaporeon PSA 10 for like $100 and now it's at 2. Same, Van got a Flareon PSA 10 Skyridge for $60 and it's up to like $230 now. So EX era stuff, you just gotta find stuff that's rare and under the radar and that didn't experience all that crazy hype and all those crazy high peaks that everyone was talking about. And with Pokemon, it's so big and expansive that it's really not that hard to find all the low-key stuff. Like there's so much low-key stuff now even. And so just to reiterate, low pops, true scarcity, you're probably good. More than likely your stuff has gone up, especially if it's low-key stuff that's untouched and untainted by YouTubers. At the end of the day, YouTubers ruin everything, like me. But yeah, no, if you just pave your own path, this is off tangent. This is a tangent off topic, but I always say this, don't listen to YouTubers, don't listen to any of this stuff. If you follow your own path and find the low-key stuff and do your own hunt and do your own research and just let yourself fall in love with the research aspect of everything, you're good. Like you will literally be golden. Like none of this matters. Quick disclaimer, I am not saying that investing in all Pokemon cards are stonks. I am saying that if you love what you do and you put in the due diligence, then you're making the best decisions and minimizing risk, and therefore, more than likely your cards will do relatively well over a long time period. I am not a financial advisor, I am a noob. Okay, enough motivational hype. Back to the topic on hand, and that's about Pokemon cards crashing, going down, correcting. So why is all of this happening? That's the next part of my video. I have a script. I'm trying to stick to it. But yeah, it's really hard to talk about the market in general because there's so many factors in play. But honestly, at the end of the day, I think cards are becoming what they're supposed to be worth, in my opinion. So one of my favorite rappers, actually, if you guys know X, he would always say, "What is real will prosper." And I think that's super true. Everything's true value is coming into fruition now. And so pretty much in Pokemon terms, it's what's rare and sought after will thrive. And what's really common and not that cool will be worthless. Maybe worthless is a bit of a harsh term, but I think it's pretty straightforward at the end of the day. It's basically like the illusions and the All the illusions of grandeur of YouTube and this mystifying, like, oh, bro, I can grade these cards and I can sell these boxes. And I can pull these cards out of these packs and they're worth so much. It's all being demystified. Like, the rug has been pulled from beneath all of us, especially to the people who are new. Reality has set in. But one example I have is the Battle Styles booster boxes. So those were going for, I want to say 180 pretty recently, maybe a couple months ago, and now they're finally down to 110, 115, pretty close to MSRP. And that's such a great sign. And I think it's a sign of things to come. Battle Styles was not a good set. Literally every YouTuber would tell you. Not YouTuber, let's take out YouTuber. Literally everyone who likes Pokemon and it was into Pokemon cards literally thought Battle Styles was kind of a weak set. It had one cool alternate art and a few okay other arts, and that's pretty much it. Like, it didn't have anything going for it. It wasn't Hidden Fates. It wasn't... Shining Fates is kind of weak too. But, and aside, we're not going to get into arguments about what set is what. Battle Styles is a relatively weak set compared to other things. In the past, it would never be worth anything. It'd just be worth MSRP. Another example that I think is going to hit super hard is just all the early unlimited cards, especially in slabs. Because I know using a modern booster box isn't a good example, so we'll talk about slabs and stuff too. But I genuinely think the huge pops, especially once PSA comes back, of like base set, jungle, and fossil, those were like super overprinted, especially in an unlimited. And I could see those really just... I think the lack of scarcity is just going to reflect in the value of the cards and where they go in the future. And granted, there is a lot of nostalgia with those cards. They're like the super early nostalgic cards that everyone's super attached to. But that might not outweigh how many have been made. On the other hand, though, I feel like a lot of the cards are getting the respect they deserve. There's so many cool sets and so many cards that were just worth nothing. And when I first started Pokemon, I was really confused by that. And one example, real quick, lowercase EX cards. Like this card right here. This card's like worth $50 on TCG Player. That's what it's listed at. So you can probably get it for $50 anywhere. Like where they price with TCG Player. But anyways, EX lowercase, the pop of this is literally like, I think it's 100 PSA 9s and like 50 10s. That seems really low to me personally. I think that's lower than some gold stars. And so it's just ridiculous where the prices of these cards were before. And so I think a lot of cards got the push they deserve. One example too that I really think about is I think full arts were super underrated. Like, especially waifus. That's an aside. But I remember when I first started and I was new and I was like, these cards are so cool. I pulled them and I looked them up and I'm like, oh, they're worth $2, $4, $5. And now they're worth 20, 30, maybe even 40. It just really depends. But I feel like they deserve to be worth that much. Especially alternate arts of really cool tag teams. They seemed really cool and the art hit really hard. And there was just something about them that felt like they were valuable, but they weren't. And so I think certain cards really got a push. Vending series got a push. A lot of really cool ones that are people were overlooking got a push. I feel like they deserve. And yeah, they'll probably correct too a little bit. But I think they got that up, and then that they're going to get that down and that stabilization to where they belong. Basically, that was just a long-winded way of saying that some cards hit and some cards don't. The ones that hit deserve that little push, and the ones that don't deserve that dip. Basically, people are becoming smarter and smarter, too. Everyone who's in the hobby right now, who's still in the hobby, has educated themselves and pushed themselves past certain levels of understanding. And at the end of the day, Pokemon is a knowledge game, and the more you know, the better off you are. And it seems like the base level of understanding and knowledge for Pokemon cards and their scarcity and their rareness has gone up, especially with people who are truly devoted to it. I mean, if you're watching a channel like this, then obviously you care about cards to a certain extent, and you care about the rarity and the scarcity, and you care about what makes it valuable and what aspects are important. So there's a lot more people like us who are just doing that stuff. So in a way, a lot of people are making more educated purchases. Not everyone's just going to go out and buy a PSA 9 Unlimited Charizard at $5,000. Like, we're taking into account the previous markets, previous price points, scarcity of cards, and everything. We are taking our time and making sure we purchase good things. Also, on the other hand, too, you can't forget about all the bandwagoners who jumped on board and just dipped. They were here for maybe like 3 months and they dipped. There was a lot of new money flowing in from that, and them dipping played a big part in that. Like, who else was going to be the random person who bought a Charizard for $5,000? But there's a lot of factors in play. So restrictions have been lifted on the pandemic for the most part. So people are spending money on traveling, eating out, other industries. There's a lot of money going to other things. And so in a way, Pokemon's not that new, hot, crazy thing that people are like super, super into. And it's lost a lot of the hype. Honestly, there's been a lot of buyer fatigue too, personally. Even from my own experience, I've been kind of like, oh, like I'm going to chill on Pokemon. Like I'm kind of burnt down on it. And I think a lot of people are experiencing that, and that combined with everything else opening up, it just makes sense for everything to correct. Just like how everything goes up, it goes down, but I genuinely do think it's just going to go down like this, and us as Pokemon collectors just got to figure out where it's going to land and make our moves from there. So speaking of moves, let's just talk about the future really quick and all the possibilities that come along with it. I could make a whole video about this, which I am going to actually, but I'm going to be pretty brief and just go through it as fast as I can. But obviously, if you're in it, you believe in the long-term growth of Pokemon, and you should have a game plan and follow through with it. Most of us here, if you're here and you made it this far in the video, you believe in Pokemon long-term. And for me, I believe in it long-term. And I'm just on that long-term journey to get the rarest, coolest, and most valuable cards. And that's the journey and the destination. Not to be deep. Anyways, like random events like this, like the crash, don't really affect my perception of my goals. The Logan Paul breaks, PSA closing, all that really doesn't mean anything. I'm not too distressed and I'm not overly ecstatic either way. I just kind of go with it. And that's what you should do as a collector, and that's what you should do during this time period. Is there's a crash, yeah, but don't make any crazy emotional reactions. Just feel it out and see what kind of happens. And then on the bright side too, it's time to buy the dip. Literally, everyone's talking about it. And when is the dip going to be? We have no clue. I mean, the dip's now, but how far does it go? Nobody really knows, but we're getting stuff way cheaper than it was before. So it's just good to keep your eye on all the things. And there's going to be so much crazy stuff that comes out of it. Like, think about it. For every one of us who spends our money responsibly and buys Pokemon cards and doesn't freak out over all of it, and it doesn't have like super a bunch of weight, think about all the people who over leverage themselves and now they're screwed once their PSA subs come back because they put too much into modern. They have not a lot of vintage cards that are going to retain value. Think about all the deep discounts we're going to get when all those people get their subs back. And then think about all the people who are hoarding all this weird random Pokemon stuff, thinking it's going to go up and be worth $1 million. And then in 10 months, it's 40% below what they thought. And they put all their money into it. There's a lot of opportunities that are going to happen. So at the end of the day, we just got to be prepped and ready for that. And so what I've been doing personally is just selling a lot of stuff that isn't very rare and not gonna have any long-term growth. Like, I've been dipping on a lot of my WotC hollows, just trading it up. But yeah, you should sell stuff that you don't really care about and stuff that you know doesn't necessarily have that long-term value, and use it to move up into better things. Like, I've just been selling WotC hollows. I bought this Metagross Gold Star for 200 with them. So in a way, I just traded up. And with Pokemon, it's actually pretty easy to trade up. A lot of people make a lot of emotional decisions with Pokemon. So you can hit them with, bro, I'll trade you 10 WotC hollows for this Gold Star, or, you know what I mean? There's a lot of options and moves to be made. So definitely start improving your collection today and just start moving up in the ranks and just get that rare stuff. That's all I've been doing, and that's all I really advise on you guys doing. Just make those moves now, and you're good. You should be super chilling. Also, don't forget to start compiling cash and just sell cards. Hold on to a decent amount of cash too for when all these crazy events happen, when people are just going to start dumping their collections. I can just see it happening. It probably won't be anytime super soon, but I'd say sometime after the 25th anniversary stuff is done, give it like a whole like, oh, everyone's so hyped on it for another 6 months or whatever, and then it's just going to start going down and people are going to have to start moving their things for one reason or another. And that'll be a great time to buy and look into things. So, yeah, back on the YouTube grind. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. If you guys made it this far, love you guys. Appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for being here and supporting us. Definitely going to be making more videos. I'm going to make a longer video about just the moves you can make right now that I think are really important and necessary. And yeah, if you guys have any comments, just say what's up in the comments below. You know, like and subscribe. So, peace. I'll see you guys soon. Later.